I'm going to be showing you guys how to get this look. For me, this is kind of an everyday look. It's something I would wear to work. For you, it might be more of a nighttime look, so keep watching if you want to know how to do it and get a lot of tips and tricks. Okay, so let's get into it. Alright, so first I'm going to start off with the Smashbox Primer Oil. This is going to help give a dewy look while also keeping the makeup on throughout the day. And with primers, you really just kind of want to focus it in the middle of the face. So now I'm going to go in with my foundation, which is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick Foundation. And this is in the color 118. This is more of a full coverage foundation. It's going to give more of a dewy look. Okay, so I'm going to just go in with this. Since it is a stick, you can just kind of stripe it on exactly where you need it. So I start off just putting it in any problem areas. And then I buff the rest in with a beauty blender. And you just kind of want to give a pouncing motion all over the skin. And then you can go back in areas that you want a little more coverage. So once I feel like I'm pretty even, I just go back in and use it almost as concealer. Just put it right where I want it. So like any spots or scars. And then I buff in again. And make sure your beauty blender is damp because that's how it works really well that way. It gives an extra like dewy look and it blends much better if the sponge is wet. It's intended to be used wet. I don't worry about my under eyes because I'm going to go back in with a concealer in a second. So that's it for the foundation. So now I'm going to go in with Urban Decay's new correctors. This color is in peach, and this is going to be for any dark purple or blue under the eye. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that just in the darkest spots under the eye. You don't want to take it down and highlight it with it because this is literally just to correct the darkness. So I just put it in the hollows and then blend it in with the Beauty Blender again. Just really focusing it on that area. Correctors are just really going to correct the discoloration. So it looks a little funny at first, but then I'm going to go over it with real concealer and it's going to really cover and take away all the darkness. So now I'll be using the NARS Creamy Concealer in Custard. So this I will be using to highlight a little bit more. So you can kind of take it down on the eye, almost doing like a little triangle under here. That's really going to help brighten the face. I put it on top of my eyelids as well. I use this kind of like as a eyeshadow primer. Then go back in with your Beauty Blender and tap it out. So now that we're all dewy and kind of sticky from our cream products, we're going to set it with the Laura Mercier translucent powder. So then I actually like to go right in with my damp Beauty Blender again. I dip it into the lid and kind of tap it off. And you have a lot of product right there. And then I'm going to go under the eye with it. This is kind of called like baking or cooking. It's going to really set the under eye so it doesn't smudge or smear. It's just going to last a lot longer throughout the day. So it's on that kind of tip. And then I'm just going to place it under the eye. You can kind of leave it thick under the eye for a little while, like where you're doing your eyeshadow. I kind of just blend it right in, but it's totally up to you. And then same on the top of the lid. Make our eyeshadow go over really smooth. We're using this as like a primer for the eyeshadow. Same on the other side. And you can take this all over the face. That's going to give more of a matte look. But since I do want more of a dewy look, I'm just going to put the translucent powder now where I know I'm going to be buffing other products like bronzer, blush, that kind of thing. So it's going to be kind of underneath the cheekbone. And I'm still using the Beauty Blender. You can use a brush too, but I like the Beauty Blender. This is just going to make the bronzer and blush go on a lot smoother because you're not going to have that sticky base where you're kind of buffing and lifting product. Do a little around the temple. Do a little in the forehead if you get a little shiny throughout the day. That'll help you. So now I'm going to use Mineral Fusion's powder in Olive 2. It's a foundation powder. So I'm going to use this to set some of the cheek area where I want a little extra coverage. So I'm putting this where I put the translucent powder. But like I said, it's just going to give a little extra coverage. So I'm just doing that where I need it. It's going to give a little bit more of a flawless look. It's not going to look as natural, but that's okay.
Flawless.
Flawless. So it's concealing a little bit more. So now we have Tarte's Park Avenue Princess Bronzer. Alright, so now we're going to go in with bronzer because we're all even, we're all one color, but we're looking a little flat. So bronzer is going to help warm up the skin and give a little shape back to the face again. So I'm taking a Real Techniques, what is this, a Duo Fiber face brush. It's going to give you a little bit more of a sheer application, and that's why I'm using it, because I don't want like a heavy streak of bronzer. I want something really soft and pretty natural looking. So we're going to take this where the sun would kind of hit you, which is going to be around the forehead, temples, and really buffing into the hairline. And then we're going to go under the cheekbone, and I kind of tap under the cheekbone. So we're not rubbing too hard at the foundation and all the coverage that we just did. So we're getting a little bronze and a little bit of shape under the cheekbone now. Makes a huge difference. Same on the other side. Start kind of back by your ear. And then work your way into the front. And you can do a little under your jaw as well. Again, it just helps with shape and blending under the neck so you don't get that harsh foundation line. Do a little on the chin. Always do some on the nose. And kind of take it up a little bit. Okay, perfect. I'm satisfied with that. I'm happy. Yay! This is so fun. I just talk and you have to listen to me and look at me. This is a dream come true. What am I going in with now? Okay, blush. So this is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector pressed in the color Blushed Copper. So I'm using the same brush again, the little Duo Fiber, so I don't get too much pigmentation all over the face. So I'm taking this blush, has kind of a shimmer to it. It's almost like a highlight, it's almost like a blush, it's almost like a bronzer, and it's really just going to add a lot of life to the face again. It's a really pretty color. So I'm going to kind of take this in between where you put a bronzer and in between where you put a blush. I love blush and I love bronzer, so I kind of layer it up and kind of create my own stuff. So kind of shake off the brush so it's not too much, but I start back here and then I take this more onto the apple, where with the bronzer I didn't quite as much. So it's just going to kind of smooth everything out because it has a light shimmer to it. Kind of evens out texture and color. It just makes everything look really kind of flawless and smooth. Same thing over here. Get onto the apple a little bit more. Just put a little on the forehead again. A little on the chin, a little on the neck. You want everything to really flow.